I appreciate the timely ones. We're going to go ahead and get started. So primarily this is SkySlope, but I want to be sure that everybody knows kind of where to go and how to access it. And there's a few other things just as a broad scope overview when you first join Realty One Group that you may or may not be aware of. So when you get your login credentials for one login or one.zone, we use those both a little bit synonymously, even though they are two different landing pages. It's going to take you to either this page, which we refer to as the zone. Okay, this is our back office, so to speak. Or it's going to take you to this guy, which is our one login. Your one login is just your single sign-on space for all of our tools and resources, including the zone and including SkySlope. So you can access everything from here. So if this is where that login lands you, it's fine. You can get to the other two places you need to go directly from there. Within the zone, especially your first time in, you just want to go and peruse your account, which is just the little down caret here by your name, and explore these tabs. So within this, you are going to have the ability to, I've been in here too long, to go in and update your email address, for example, or your web address, include your bio, update your billing information. So everything is just under your tab here inside your zone account. So your account information, this is also where at the end of the year, you can come to retrieve your 1099s. So you never have to worry about having them mailed to your house or where do I go to get them or do they have to be emailed some special way. Every single year that you've had a 1099 is just going to be right here and accessible for you. But like I said, this is where you can go in, you can update your contact information, your personal info, your address, your emergency contacts, your email address, if you need to, will be updated right here. If you update this email address in the zone, it updates your email across all platforms. So your one app, your one suite, your website, your CRM, your one design, everything will be updated with that new email address at that point. So if that's not your intention, don't update it here. Billing, if you ever get a little love note from us that says, hey, we weren't able to process your invoice, this is where you can go to update your card on file and pay the invoice from here. This is also where you can go to retrieve all of your paid invoices at the end of the year if you need those for tax purposes or something similar. Your public info is going to be where you want to upload your headshot, your bio, your website information, any of your, contact information, tags, etc. That's all going to go right in here. And this is also what is going to be shared on your website. So your photo will automatically go to your website. Your bio will automatically go to your website within OneSuite. So again, whatever you're putting in here is being shared elsewhere. It also is going to be the information that appears on our company landing page. So realty1group.com. If somebody were to search for an agent or if somebody were to search by an office, what you have here will be what is displayed on that public site as well. And then you can also keep track of your transactions in here. So while, yes, there is a way to do this in the zone, if you had transactions, this is my husband's account, don't be too judgy. Ultimately, you'd be able to see, okay, this is what was closed. These are the addresses, the sales price, the corresponding net commissions. You can do that for year to date. You can go all the way back in history for as long as you've been with us. If you are monitoring your cap, okay, our cap is $9,500 per anniversary year. You would be able to see how much you've paid into it and how much remains. So you never have to guess where you are as far as your cap is concerned. You can pull this cap information up all the time. The first time you log into the zone with the expectation of accessing SkySlope, you need to actually go to this zone homepage and log in from here. Clicking SkySlope from zone is what activates your zone account. Once you are in there the first time, then you'll just be able to access it from this single sign-on page through one login. But that first time, you need to go in and you want to be sure you go ahead and click on it right here. Once you get into your SkySlope page, this is where the fun begins. So they've redesigned this, which is fabulous because it used to be you had to click on 8 different buttons before you could get to where you needed to go. But obviously, these quick actions right here, they cover everything that SkySlope does, which is hugely beneficial. So if you need to start a buyer broker agreement, start a listing agreement, fill disclosures. Okay, that's not for you to fill disclosures. They have a system called Breeze where you could actually send your seller property disclosure and the HOA addendum to your seller, and it creates a fillable PDF for them to type in all of their responses, as opposed to handing them a copy of the seller property disclosures, the SPUDs, and having them hand write in all of that information. So for a lot of sellers, this is obviously a much more convenient path to go. And if they have to make edits down the road, it makes it easier to do that as well. So that's what this fill disclosures is for. Of course, write an offer or just send one form. Maybe you have a referral that you need, a referral agreement. That would be a good time to use the just send a form. You're not creating an actual file for it because you don't even have any information beyond a client and the agent you're going to refer them to. You just need the referral fee agreement to send out to everybody to sign. So everything has these quick actions here right on the left, but then they also have the corresponding actions on the main part of the page here. And with these, you can also see recent activity that has taken place. And you can always pull up any scheduled closings you have, your active listings, your pending transactions, what's recently closed, or if you have any expired situations that you might need to look at to see what's going on with those. You can search by property address or by client name. So they're just trying to make it easy that you can get in here and search however you need to search. Before we start going into the actual creating files, filling out forms, etc., I want to draw your attention to one little spot that I don't love where they've put this. So we have a section of additional documents that are not forms. Okay, so there's a distinction. Forms are documents that are standardized in Arizona, either through the Department of Real Estate, through WeServe, through AAR, or through Armless. Okay, those are forms. Documents are PDFs that might be broker specific, or they just might be generic documents that you've incorporated somehow into what you're doing. Maybe you have a document like a getting to know you form. That would actually be considered a document. To access those, you would come up here to this very first recent listings and transactions, and where it says more, you're going to click on that and then go to working docs. If you have your own documents, they're going to be right here. Okay, so this is your personal docs tab. This would be where you could keep it. I have found that agents upload things like property photos or property descriptions, floor plans, things like that into their personal docs, which is totally fine. It's unlimited space. So I understand why you might want to utilize that for that purpose. Where most agents need to absolutely know where to go, though, is this Office Docs tab. So on the office documents, you will click on Goodyear. And then we have several forms that we think might be beneficial based on the circumstances. So we have a coming soon addendum if you are utilizing the coming soon status in the MLS. We have an office exclusive addendum if it's actually going to be what we call a pocket listing. Okay, it's not going to be broadcast to the public at all. It's only going to be shared with other Realty One Group agents. And that kind of explains that. So the two that I want to be sure you have always, 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 this ABA. Okay, you can click on it. You can click on the little I here. I would save a copy of this to your desktop because this document is required for every single transaction where you represent a buyer or a seller. Okay, not rentals, but buyers or sellers, you have to have this form. This is our RESPA compliance document. This tells our client, hey, the company is paid a fee anytime one of our clients uses their services. Okay, so we have partnerships with title and escrow, home warranty companies, 1031 company, mortgage, so, and then some of these other affiliates. So even though we as agents don't benefit from this financial relationship, we have to be sure that we are disclosing that again for RESPA compliance. So it's named, it has so many different nicknames. Primarily, we refer to it as the ABA, the Affiliated Business Arrangement. And this document is in working docs where you can just save a copy to your computer. The other one that you're all definitely going to want is actually on page 2. You can thank me. This used to be 4 pages long, and as of last week, I finally talked compliance into minimizing this because I thought that there was a lot of unnecessary fluff in here. So now you only have to search through 2 pages to find what you might need. But the other one you're definitely going to want is your commission disbursement instructions. So there's a separate one for rentals and referrals as opposed to sales. But this is another one where I would go ahead and I would just download it now and have it saved to my computer. The reason for that is they are not going to pull up in your forms when you're trying to fill documents out. So it's just nice to have these at the ready so you're not having to go in and pull these up every single time. But you can see some other things. If ever your documents are late, which brings me to a good point, documents are due to be uploaded to SkySlope within 72 hours of being signed. Listing documents, buyer broker documents, purchase contract documents, anytime those are fully executed, meaning all relevant parties have signed them, you must create a file in SkySlope and upload them within 72 hours. If you fail to do that, and it's been 2 weeks and you upload them, you are going to get flagged for a document delay letter. This is that document delay letter, and it's a fill in the blank. Why is it late? And what have you done to ensure that you're not late again in the future? So this is in case we're audited by the Department of Real Estate. We just want to know what happened and why the documents weren't in there in a timely manner. We have other things, your document checklist. So if you want to know what docs are needed for what transactions, that would be helpful. And then it just has little check boxes and greens for things that they think might be helpful if it applies to that particular situation. So that doc checklist is in there. Information are W-9, post-possessions, pre-possessions, waivers, good stuff. So that's all inside that office docs in Goodyear. All right, questions so far about initial zone access, one login access? Okay, a quick note on that CDI. Here is the process, and bear in mind, I know I talk fast. This is being recorded. It is going to be uploaded. But one thing you all might want to do is just play around in here. You can create dummy files. You can create, like, send things to yourself to sign to practice. You can create dummy CDIs so you get some practice in. There's nothing in here that you can mess up. So the only thing I ask is if you do start creating dummy transactions, name them something that makes sense that it's a dummy transaction. You'll see mine is 123 Main Street. And then we can just go in and delete it as soon as you're done. But that way, at least you've gotten some of the practice in real time, because getting in here and playing with it is probably the best way to learn it. The note on the CDIs, here is the process. You, the agent, are going to fill out your CDI. Line 9 of your CDI needs to match your name on your real estate license. So if you have a middle name, or if you have a middle initial, if you are a PLLC, any of those things, your payee line 9 on your commission disbursement instructions must match your real estate license. That is probably the biggest issue we have with CDIs coming in. That line is either blank or it's not filled out correctly. Most of it, I think, is just, okay, just fill in what you know. You're going to fill it in. You're going to sign it. You're going to upload it into your SkySlope file. And then compliance is going to review that you've done it correctly, and they will send it to me to sign. If you wish to register for Zelle, you can do so by clicking the QR code or scanning the QR code at the bottom of my weekly newsletters. So every week, it's on there. You can scan it with your phone. It'll take you to a Google Doc that asks for a couple of bits of information. You fill that out. With these Zelle CDIs, it just complicates it because it creates one more step. So with a regular CDI, if you're being paid by check or wire, you fill in the CDI, you upload it, I sign it, you send it to title. You, the agent, send it to title. If you do Zelle, there's an additional step involved. So you're going to do your typical CDI, you're going to upload it, you're going to check the box on the CDI for Zelle, and then compliance is going to send you a new CDI where the payee is Realty One Group. So just to be clear, Title is not issuing Zelle payments. Realty One Group is issuing Zelle payments. So they're going to send the entire check payable to Realty One Group, and then we will Zelle you your funds the next business afternoon. So the Zelle goes out after about 3 o'clock the next business day. If you're not going to do Zelle, don't worry about it. You can come get a check. You can get it from title. You can have it wired into your account, whatever makes the most sense for you. All right, so let's go ahead and go into SkySlope Forms first. So the distinction, SkySlope Forms is where you write documents, you draft them, you fill them in. This main SkySlope homepage, this is your SkySlope transaction management side. So SkySlope Forms, you're filling out documents, sending them to sign. SkySlope main page or transaction, this is going to be where you upload executed documents for broker review. So that's the distinction. So you have a few ways to access SkySlope Forms. Obviously, you can do it just right over here on the side, or through write an offer, or through start a buyer agreement, or through start a listing agreement. All those things are being done through Forms. You can also do it up here through the apps. This is where you can just move between Forms, Offers, DigiSign, and Breeze. So you have a few options right there as well. You can also go into Breeze to send your disclosures down there. Your recent forms files, if you want to draft, write, or browse your libraries, you can do it all right here as well. All of these are easy. I'm accustomed to just switching through the apps up here, so I'm going to go to Forms, but like I said, you can do it through any of these other locations, whatever your action is. Once you get into Forms, if you had previously created a Forms file, it will be listed right here for you. Okay, so I did a mock one yesterday. If you need to start a new file, if it's going to be just a buyer agreement, you can click over here. Otherwise, you could click on Create, and it will lead you through the process of who do you represent. Please notice that it says primary client. The client is a company, trust, or other entity. Click on that box if you have an LLC or a trust, only because they're signed differently. So we want to be sure that it's handling it correctly. And we'll go ahead and do it this way. If there is a property, you can import the MLS data. So if you do this, it'll just ask you to search by MLS number, and it'll autofill some of that stuff in there for you. So that is an option for you. It will save you time by doing that. However you want to save it, you can save it by address, or you can save it by primary client, which would be their name. If you have created a template, and I will show you where to go to do so, you can go ahead and you can click on this, and it will apply all of those template docs to your Forms file. So now that'll make it easy. Oh, let's say 1234 West Main Street. I've used it too many times, apparently. So see how, because I had my template created, it just imported automatically all of the documents that I need to start my listing file. So it made it super simple. And then it is literally go in and start filling in the blank. So you click on the document and information, anything with a blue line, need your attention to it. So all of those little blue boxes, that's where you need to start filling things out. From in here, then you have a couple of choices. You can go ahead and just save and exit, or you can send it for signature directly from here. So if you're going to send it to your client to sign electronically, you can do that just right from here. Otherwise, you save and exit. I don't know why it has you do all these envelopes, guys, but just don't worry about it. It'll save it. It'll do something weird. Go back to your forms. At the end of this, after you've gone through and you've filled out all of your documents, you can go ahead and you can click on these little circles. And then you can fill and send everything, which is obviously the way you want to do this, unless you're just sending one form. You can download it as a PDF to your computer, or you can go ahead and click fill and send right from here. Now, the beauty of filling and sending directly from Forms is that it knows where the signature and initials need to go on Forms. And because you already created your client and it recognizes you as the agent, it already knows where to apply that information. So you just click on next, and it's going to walk you through the process of sending everything for signatures. So where this changes, okay, so you can see It's going to apply the seller's initials everywhere. You don't have to drag and drop or place them onto the forms when you're inside forms. Okay, everything that you need is right in there. However, in my template, remember I showed you that ABA? I uploaded a document. Documents do not have preset initial and signature lines. So that means that I need to go into this document and I need to choose whose signature it's going to be and then click what it is. So that signature needs to go there. The full name needs to go down here. The date needs to go here. Okay. And you can see over here, you have other things. You can add a time if you need to for something like a counteroffer. You can add check boxes. You can add a text field. So a text field is really helpful on something like a Binzer. So if somebody submitted a request for repairs, you can actually type out the seller's response on the Binzer itself using this text field, just right here in DigiSign. And then you click send. Fill it in with whatever email subject and email body you want. It'll ask you if you want to sign it right now, and then it'll send a copy to your client to sign. And that's it. Right from there. Oh, look, it even celebrates you. That's how exciting it is. When you first go in, so that was easy enough, right? The bigger thing is going to be figuring out, how do I create templates? Because you want to make this easy on yourself. So go in here and literally just click create a template. What template do you want to create? So maybe we'll do a buyer template because I already did a seller template. Sorry, guys, my screen is not showing all my buttons to go next. Okay. What should we name this? We'll name it basic buyer. And then it'll take you to your libraries and you can just start typing in purchase contract, which one do I want to add? And then you can just add the documents that are relevant. So the residential resale purchase contract, I'm going to add it. Then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say agency. If I spell it correctly, it would be helpful. Agency. And I'm going to do the buyer tenant agency. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say buyer advisory. Okay, so on and so forth. So that checklist, remember that checklist from working documents that has the list of all the forms you will need? That's what you're doing to build this. So that's just a few of the documents, but then you can go ahead and click continue. And now you have this new template that has all of these forms ready to go. And you can just click save template. The other thing you can do from in here, so again, remember that ABA is required every file, right? You can upload your documents from here. So I know that I need the ABA. So I'm going to go ahead and just upload that into it as well. So now you don't have to worry about forgetting about it or logging in somewhere else and trying to get it every single time. It's just right here for you. It's incorporated in with all of your other documents that are part of your template. And then click Save Template. So now you have these templates created as opposed to trying to download documents into every single file every time. You have these. And from here, you can go ahead and you can apply it. But ultimately, where you really want to go is into your files. Same thing, create, and then just tell it to apply a template. So with this, we'll say in this case, it is the buyer, Bob, whoever. Add your template in. When you do this, remember that that was a pretty basic template, right? So I may still need to go, after I apply the template, I can still add additional forms. So in this, let's say for this buyer, I have all my standard documents. However, there's an HOA, lead-based paint applies. There's a septic. They're paying cash and they want an appraisal. So I need the additional clause addendum. You can add forms to the file after you already have the template. So your template will have all of your typical forms. This is where you would go and just add additional ones if you need it. So if I need the HOA addendum, I can go ahead and I can just put it in right here. And that's it. And then it's just going to keep adding whatever additional forms I want to add to this particular transaction. Okay, questions on creating templates, creating files, and sending them. Okay, two more things to show you in here. If you do browse libraries, if you just want to see what a document looks like, that's the best place to go. Just hit browse libraries. It has everything in there for you. And then you can just search by name. As you noticed, I try to search by keywords, but even putting in purchase contract, look how many are in there. So you just need to be sure that you're searching for the right one. So generally speaking, it's going to be the residential resale real estate purchase contract. Again, that's why it's just nice to have those templates. Do it once and you don't have to worry about finding them every time. The other helpful bit is this clauses section. So I have clauses that I think would be very helpful on just about every transaction. One of those, as an example, is if termites are discovered in the property, seller will agree to remediate the termites. Like, I don't know of a single buyer who is, I won't say a cash investor may not care so much, but anybody getting the loan, especially, they have to have a clear termite report. So that would be one where I would just go ahead and I would name it. We'll say termite clause. I don't know what a category is, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then you could actually just copy and paste my clauses that I have a bunch of that I will share with all of you if you need them. But you could literally just copy and paste this right into that clause section. So again, you're not having to find these or rewrite these every time. If I just put termite, will that work? You now have these. So then you can just, it will ask you when you're filling out forms if you want to put a clause into the additional terms. And now they're just right here. And you can just click insert clause. So again, it's just a time saver. You're not having to type it out. You're not having to copy and paste it from someplace else. You're not having to try to remember where did I put Leah's clause form. It's all in here ready to go for you. And you can use any number of these. Yes.
So are you saying, Leah, to go ahead and create those clause templates already so that if we need them, we can just go to them?
Yeah.
Can I have that cheat sheet form sent to me that you just went to?
Yeah, everybody who's on here, I'll send a copy out, and I do include, because I update them pretty regularly. So at least a couple of times a year, you'll see that update in my newsletter that I'll send out. Just because new circumstances have arisen that I think make it worthwhile to change things. I'm actually in the process of doing one right now, and it's adding a buyer to a contract, just because I don't think that's being done correctly. So those are the types of things. Everybody on the call, I will send a copy of this out to, my contract clauses, so you do have those. But yep, I would go in sooner rather than later and start naming those clauses and just putting them all in there and creating those templates so you have them all. One other thing I forgot to mention, and I apologize, this is a little disjointed. Before you get too far, you need to make sure that in your libraries, so you go up to your little profile circle here and go to your libraries. Make sure you have libraries. Otherwise, all those documents that we've been discussing, they're not going to pop up for you. So the we serve and the ADRE will generally appear automatically, but your AAR and your armless, the first time you log into this and you go to add a library, it's going to ask for your NERDS number. Okay, that's called something else now. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what NAR keeps changing their terminology. Whatever that long 7-digit number is associated with you being a realtor, that's the number that you're going to need to input here. So that way it knows, hey, you are a realtor member and you do have access to these documents. So if you're not seeing something like the purchase contract, it means that you don't have your libraries set up yet. So just make sure you do that. I think I had a couple in the chat. Oh, yes, my pleasure. All right, so we've got our libraries, we've got contract clauses, creating templates, save yourself some time, completing and submitting documents for signatures through forms. We've done all that. Okay, before I get out of forms, last call, any questions before we start looking at SkySlope management? Okay. Let's go ahead. So remember, I toggle back and forth. You have some options, but I like to toggle back and forth just using the apps buttons up here, and we'll go to SkySlope. Now, if you already had a file created, like I said, they would appear here. So you can always see what's going on and change documents accordingly. But today we need to actually create a new file. And let's make it easy. Let's do a listing file for practice here. This is going to be Sky. She is your virtual assistant, and she is going to help guide you through some questions to get your file set up. You all are so lucky. I was a beta tester for this, and it was not nearly this easy and flawless when they first started. There were a lot of boxes and check marks and asterisks and things that you had to pay attention to. So they are trying to make it a little simpler. Now, if you had used forms to create your documents, it will actually say, hey, you have access to your forms already. Do you want to just pull those in? And the answer is yes. Again, save yourself some time. This is why we love SkySlope Forms, because then you're not having to download things and re-upload things. Anything you created in forms, it will automatically pull over into your transaction. So that will be very helpful. You can also do it by MLS listing if you represent a buyer. But let's go ahead. I said this is going to be this guy. And see how it said we're pre-filling information so you don't have to? That was to try to help you. Then checklist. So in this case, we just have a traditional listing, but you can see the different options on here. Whether it's a lease listing, a land listing, an REO, short sale, new construction, but ours is traditional. What is the property type? It's residential in this case. What is the property subtype? Again, whatever applies. This is a single family, we will say. It's going to be listed for $5 million because I'm optimistic. Today is the listing date. The expiration date will be whatever we put on our ER. Now, again, I did not complete this information in forms. Had I done so, it already would have known the list price, the list date, the expiration date, and it would have auto-populated all of those fields for you. So again, it's just trying to save you from duplicate efforts. I'm going to say this is a personal referral, and it was built in 2000. Okay, it knows who the seller is. You can edit this. You can add an additional one here if necessary, but again, it's auto-populating from what we put into the forms section. Sale commission, that's going to be, I'm just going to put in 0 because that's negotiable, right? This is my listing, so I know what my listing commission is, but I don't know what the buyer broker is going to ask my seller to pay for buyer broker compensation. So whatever your amount is there, you can add a co-listing agent at this point if you want. Never have I ever pre-opened escrow, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. I just think that that makes it especially difficult because then you've got to like backtrack if that's not the title company that's used. So we're just going to say no, I do not want to pre-open escrow, and then continue. So it really is intuitive, right? It asks you all the questions. You're just answering the questions to create your file. It's not a complex situation. Now, when you're in here, it tells you, okay, these are all your documents that are required. These are all the things you need to upload. And you have a few ways to do that. If you had these done in forms, they will automatically go in to your documents tab. So if I had completed these in forms and had them signed and ready to go, they would already be here in my documents tab. If I did not, I can go to my documents and I can upload individuals. But here is my favorite way to do this. Let's say that I have an email that has all of my documents in it. Now, this is probably more applicable for a purchase contract situation because you created it, you sent it, but then they emailed it back to you after their seller signed it. But no matter what, every time you create a file, it creates this unique email address. So you can just forward documents that you have. So let's say I got this back as my email. I can just forward it to that SkySlope email address. And within a few minutes, it will be in my documents tab here for me to go. Otherwise, like I said, I can click on upload document and I can just upload whatever it was that I needed here. The easiest route, of course, is making sure that you use forms all the time, because then again, it will go ahead and it will just have those in here for you. But when you get something back from somebody else, you can't really control that. So this went ahead and it already split them for me. But if I were to have received a contract from the other side where all 32 pages of the contract was a single attachment, I could go ahead and go in here and click on whatever that document was. Let's do one that actually has a couple docs to it. I could go right in here, click on that document, and then click on split. And it will let me separate out the pages. So I can name it, this is, let's pretend, this is the wire fraud. So I could say, okay, page 1 is the wire fraud, and that's where it's going to assign it. Page 2 is my ABA, and that's where it's going to assign it. So you can do this just right in here. You don't have to worry about trying to separate it out somewhere else, and then just tell it split and assign. And it will put it right inside your checklist for you there. That splitter tool is so beneficial and so few agents use it. And like in an ideal world, to make things as expeditious as possible, I would love to have one email that has one attachment, and that one attachment has all of my documents that I need in it. And from there, I can use that splitter tool to split and assign it into my checklist. So from start to finish, this whole process would probably take me less than 5 minutes to complete and have all of my documents ready to go. Now, this is a listing. Okay, so we're going to go in and we're going to attach what other random documents we're going to attach here. I mix things up because things are buyer documents in here. I disregard the names of them. We're just going to do this for practice. So now anything left over that I didn't use the split tool on, I can just go in here and I can start assigning things. Once this is done, in review, it doesn't even have to be accepted, but once this is done, this little guy up here that says accepted contract, this popped up. Before it was grayed out, so you couldn't do anything with it. All of your documents have to be uploaded. All required documents have to be uploaded before you can convert a file. So that's what we refer to this as. You will see this in both your buyer contract files and in your listing files, because your buyer contract files start as pre-contract. Because remember, you have to upload your buyer broker agreement and your agency disclosure right away. Okay, you're uploading those before your buyers find a property. So you're going to see the same thing. You got to upload those first few. And then for the love of all that is holy, do not create a separate transaction file once they go under contract. Okay, you won't have a separate listing file and a separate contract file. You won't have a separate buyer broker file and a separate contract file. You need to make sure that you accept the contract and convert it here. So after I do that, it's going to run me through that same, okay, let's start filling in information that might be missing. What is the sales price? Okay, well, we got the full 5 million, so we're going to go that route. Is it an office lead? No, it's not. When was your contract accepted? We'll say also today. When is it closing? Shortly. And anything that just has that red asterisk by it, that's going to be required. And you're just going to keep filling in. Oh, the important one. Fill in your checklist type. On your checklist, where is my checklist? There are so many options on here. The majority of them are going to be, get down here, residential traditional or residential traditional listing sold. If you only represent the seller, choose listing sold. If you are a dual agent and you represent the buyer and the seller personally, you personally, not another Realty One Group agent, but you personally represent the buyer and the seller, choose residential traditional, because the document requirements are different for each of these. So let's go ahead and say on this one, I only represented the seller. So I'm going to do listing sold. And then we're just going to keep going through the next. Oh my God, this thing is driving me crazy. Well, at least you know it won't let you go to the next phase unless you have entered in every single detail that it finds important. In the case of a new build, especially, or an off market, you have to put something in there. So just put like what I did, 55555 00000 11111, something to bypass that field. Third time's the charm. All right, so now it's going to go in and we're just, again, going to fill in anything that has a red asterisk means that it's required. And we're going to keep clicking next as we fill in all of the information. And save. And next. And title. And save. And next. And so forth. So notice I'm not filling in all of this. You are welcome to if you're one of those hyper anal retentive people that want all of your information in one spot, by all means. I am a wham bam, thank you ma'am kind of gal. So I like to try to knock this out as quickly as possible. So I'm only looking at what is required. The red asterisks, that is what is required. Save. Next. And then by the time you get down to lender, again, you are welcome to put this in if you wish, but it is not necessary. So at this juncture, after these top 4 are filled out for your contacts, see how this submit button popped up? You can just click on submit. I've already done that. Delete. Delete. I got lights turning off in here. Okay, we'll wait for this. So it noticed where the error came in. It said, hey, on title company, you need to input something. So I'm going in and I'm trying to just delete these out to figure out what the heck the next thing is. Okay, escrow officer. Okay, now will it let me go? No. Sorry, guys. Let's try to figure this out together. All right, so we have that one saved. So anybody else should be deleted. At least it's taking 5 years to do this.
It's making me feel better, so when I struggle along, I won't be the first.
I'm like, it only requires one input. So why is this being a problem child today? Because I'm trying to teach a class, that's why. While this is spinning itself into submission, I hope, when it comes to a referral file. So notice what I did up above here where I referenced like NA and NA@NA.com. On a referral file, you're going to have to do that a lot. Aside from the original client's name and the property address, you're probably not going to have any other information. So the only way to get to the next page is by bypassing some of this stuff. So you might be using a lot of those 55555s, the NA@NA.com, all of that jazz. It will usually ask for title and escrow to be filled out. It doesn't allow only one. Then you have to read it. Thank you. All right, let's see. I have not had that experience, Katya, so this is kind of interesting to me that this is requiring all of this nonsense. But yeah, now the delete options aren't even in there. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. So let's say Sally Sid. NA@NA.com. skyslopefilescreate.com. For those of you who have had to create a couple of files already, did it require you to put more than one input in here? Because I need to let SkySlope know if that's the case, because it shouldn't be. Okay, so the moral of the story is apparently if one doesn't work, put in two. Why? I don't know. I will let SkySlope know that that's not how that should be and to get that corrected. But in the meantime, we know the workaround. All right, it's probably going to ask a couple of other details. It looks like all of those are filled out. So now be cautious. It does this gold submit in open escrow. Don't do the submit in open escrow, just do the submit. Otherwise, again, it's going to take you to a place you don't need to go. And very similarly to that listing file originally, now our checklist popped up. Okay, so now these are, you'll see down below, our listing file is here and good and created. Okay, so it's attached. Everything is together in one spot. Now up here, these are our contract documents. So all of our executed contract documents are going to be what we now upload into these required places. When you upload things, our brokers, we have specific document review brokers. That is what they do. They love reviewing contracts and they go in and they review all of your documents. They will either approve it or you will get little love notes back where this comes and it says rejected. And then there will be a note in here to tell you why it was rejected. Something's missing a signature. Something's missing an initial. The wrong document was uploaded to that spot. Whatever it is, you will get a list via email and you can always log into your file and see those as well. Word to the wise. Very often, you will respond back to that email or you make a note here in the comments section. If you have a question about something that has been rejected or about your file in general, do not respond back to the email that you got from compliance. Email me so I can let you know what is needed. Okay, so I will guide you through that process. Additionally, if you put notes into the comments box without uploading a document, even if it's uploading the exact same document again, we will not see notes without a document uploaded. So all the time I have agents say, well, I put a note in the file and nobody responded. We don't see them. We don't know that they exist unless a document has also been uploaded to trigger the file in essence. It's telling us, hey, you've got something you need to review. So please just keep that in mind. This is not the place for wayward notes. Re-upload a document if you do it, but even better is don't make notes in here at all. Just reach out to me if you have a question about something so that I can work with you on it. All right. Questions on all of this? You are now to the point where you have filled out all of your forms. You have signed all your forms. You have uploaded all of your forms because you've created a file in SkySlope. What else? Just a heads up, this get paid now is not anything exciting. This is a commission advance. If you utilize a commission advance program, you will pay them about 25% of your commission to get paid now. So unless that is your intention, please do not click on this button. Just wait until you actually get paid at the end of the day. A couple of other things, like I said, your checklist, your documents are where you store everything. Okay, so this is where all of your forms and documents stay that are associated with the file. The checklist is where you upload completed documents, executed documents for broker review. So there's a distinction. So sometimes I'll have agents that are like, well, I created my file and I uploaded everything. You uploaded it to your documents tab, but we don't see your documents tab. We only see what you upload to your checklist when it comes time to do broker review. So please understand that distinction and make sure you are uploading them into the checklist. The log over here is fascinating because sometimes you try to pull this nonsense BS where, oh, but Leah, I just uploaded this yesterday, so it needs to be signed right away. No, you uploaded it 5 minutes ago before you called me and asked me to do something for you. And you know how I know that you just did it? Because there's a log in here. I can see every action you've done and when, so you will not get something over on me. Also, if you tried to tell me you uploaded something 3 weeks ago, I'm like, no, 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 no. Do you see this date? Yes, that's a 7:10 at 9:45. That was not 3 weeks ago. So your lies will not go anywhere. I will know. Um, this log is very helpful in monitoring things, but one other little note about this. Um, Remember when we emailed in to that address? You can also use this address in text messages. So if you send text messages to your client and or the other side of the transaction and you include this email address as a recipient for those text messages, it will track all of those texts and create their information right here inside your log. So in essence, it becomes a bit of a virtual assistant and a little bit of a CYA where all of those communications are tracked within the system as well. This is not a you have to, but just a potential consideration that that email can come into play and be very helpful. And if it had it, it would have a little link over here that says read full text. And you'd be able to click on that little link and then it would show you exactly what that text message said. So again, just some other ways to help protect yourselves. Okay, when you have closed a transaction, you have kind of a cool option for sharing your docs with your clients. So you can do this a couple of ways. Usually I would click on and be cautious because if there's things you don't want them to see, like your paychecks, remove that from what you're sending before. Otherwise, you can just, I don't care. They know what I got paid. You can click on the little button up here. It will highlight everything and then you can go ahead and share docs. So I'll name my bundle all contract documents, create, and it creates this awesome little link that you can share with them. So I'll copy the link and I'll show you what this looks like. So after closing now, your clients have a really easy way to retrieve all of their documents. And it shows right here on the left side all of your information should they need it, but they can just click on these individual links, pull up what those documents are, or they can go over here and say download all, and they can save them all to their computer. So again, hopefully they've been saving them as they go. I just think this is a super slick way to get them everything after closing so they have the opportunity to see it all in one spot and they can then just download what they may want or need. Okay, the other component, let's get out of this if we're all pretty good with the SkySlope side of things. You can DigiSign. My husband cannot because I just realized his is inactivated. When you typically, for the rest of you, you will have a button up here that says DigiSign. Periodically, it just bumps you out of the system for whatever reason. If you log in and you don't see DigiSign in here, let me know because I can just click a button and I'll reset it up for you. But the beauty of that is, let's say that you missed initials on something. Alan is our fabulous compliance review broker. He will let you know everything you've done wrong, but he's so sweet about it that you can't help but love him. He will send you little love notes through that checklist and let you know. But let's say that it really was just missed initials. You'd be able to click on just that document that had missed initials and then hit DigiSign. That should be right here. And then you'll be able to just send it to your client right then and there. So, again, you don't have to redo a form. You don't have to go back and pull up something new. You don't have to go into forms for this. Whatever it's missing, just click it right here and send it through DigiSign to fix. And then when you actually get to your DigiSigns, you can see anything that had recently been signed or sent. And it will give you the whole history of it. When it was sent, who it was viewed by, who it was signed by, all of that is on this certificate. So again, if there's ever a legal situation, knock on wood, hopefully not, you would actually be able to pull up and say, nope, they signed on this date. Here is the email address it was sent to. Here are the actions that were taken and when. You can print all of this information off including the signing certificate. So anytime we get like a court order for documents, we have to include a copy of this. And it actually shows, no, that their email addresses and signatures were verified electronically. And here's that signing certificate. Hopefully not something you'll bump into, but it is pretty handy, especially if you have arguing spouses sometimes that are trying to lie to one another. Good times. All right, we have a couple of minutes left. Anything else? Are we all pretty comfortable with going to forms, going into SkySlope, creating things? Again, just from the homepage. Like I said, this is super handy now that it just has everything kind of off to the side for you. It didn't used to have all that. It's like, okay, I want
Leah,
to start a fire agreement. Yeah.
quick question. So I came on board when AuthentiSign was new and the way to go and everything. So I've never used DigiSign. Do I need to do something, take some certain action to initiate that, or can I
It's already
still?
in your SkySlope.
Okay, so I can still use that button. I don't have to activate it anyway.
Correct. Yeah, if,
Okay.
the only thing that it does sometimes, if you don't see DigiSign on your page, like so many other things, it's like after a certain amount of, a certain number of months of disuse or in use, it like falls off. So if you log in and you don't see DigiSign as an option for you, just reach out and let me know because I can just click to reactivate it for you.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, but there's nothing that you as the agent would have to do in that situation other than let me know.
Okay, great.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm not going to keep you. Like I said, I'll send out my contract clauses and all of this information via email to everybody who registered. It will also get uploaded to my YouTube channel. If you need very specific support, I will tell you that the support in here is fabulous. But if you click on that little help button, it will take you right to the different training options that they have and different articles. And you can always click on this little guy right here and start a chat, and they guarantee that they will at least respond to your initial chat within 10 seconds. So again, if you're kind of stuck and have something in the system, there are a lot of avenues that you can get assistance with. Same goes for all of your tools and resources in the zone. You can click on Roger here and you can initiate a text message. Obviously, we have some pretty common ones that you can click right away and they'll tell you, hey, here's where you need to go. But you also can go ahead and go into support over here, and depending on where you need, the one resource guide is hugely beneficial for all of our tools and resources. So even just the getting started things with SkySlope, OneSuite, whatever it is that you want more information on, you can click on any of these guys and it will take you right to their like micro training videos and additional information. So yeah, screenshots walking you through it. And that is literally for every resource we have. So that one resource guide is going to be your one resource guide for everything you need. All right then, folks, I will go ahead and I will let you go about your day. Thank you so much for spending the morning with me. Like I said, any other questions, just reach out. Bye, everybody.